Good night and welcome to the Collister Fahie show. Today is March 12th, 2025. This is episode number 52, and on the hot seat tonight, we will be discussing: is success given or earned? Is success given or earned? Good night to all my listeners from around the Caribbean, the Americas, Europe, Africa, Asia, the rest of the world, and especially to my viewers in the US Virgin Islands. Tonight's show, we will discuss more of the waste, fraud, and abuse that is coming out of the US. And then we will have a discussion about the Attorney General of the Virgin Islands, Mr. Gordon Rea, and the interview he gave today, and analyze this. Because I think what was said gives much more importance to what was not said. And so that will be coming up in a little while. So you could tell your friend to tell a friend to tune in, because we will be discussing exactly what the Attorney General Gordon Rea, maybe he inadvertently let slip a lot of what is going to happen in the future in the US Virgin Islands. And I will discuss that, informed with what has been done in the past, that is straight down the alley in the same vein as what is about to hit these US Virgin Islands. So first, let me just say this. Every day we talk about the fraud, waste, and abuse that is coming out of the US with different nuances. We know all about the waste to NGOs. We know about the waste that they shuttle aside to try to circumvent the Trump administration. We know about the FEMA funds that were earmarked and pushed to illegal immigration. I don't know what FEMA have to do with illegal immigration. The money that the EPA had shuttled into 8 new non-for-profits, simply again to go around Trump. All this money, the Department of Government Efficiency is going to claw back. And if it isn't going to claw back, then property is going to be, they're going to seize property. They're going to seize bank accounts. Whatever it takes, the Department of Government Efficiency is in high gear. We also talked about the fact that an official at USAID sent out an email telling the remaining employees to shred the classified documents and the personal documents. And if they cannot shred them, they must put them in burn bags. That is a crime. But today, I mean, it's been in the news before, but today, the impact of USAID and government funds, our taxpayer money, given to the so-called news agencies for I guess, trying to indoctrinate us, the very same people whose money was shuttled to them, came to the fore. I'll give you an example. Reuters, or Reuters, the news agency. I thought that Reuters was a profitable organization that doing work for money. But apparently, Reuters, or Reuters, got $60.51 million from the Department of Defense, $55.40 million from the Department of Homeland Security, $50.3 million from the Department of Air Force, $48.51 million from ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They got $9.1 million of DARPA funds. They got $8.98 million from the Special Operations Command. They got $6.89 million from Customs and Border Protection. They got $6.89 million from the Department of Justice, $1.08 million from the Department of Treasury, $9 million was received from the Department of Defense. That was called a program that is a large-scale social deception. And then they got $355,020 from the Department of State. That is just one media outlet, writers. That is too much of taxpayers' money going to propaganda outlets. I continue. Politico, not a propaganda media outlet in my view, received $34.3 million of USAID funds. The New York Times received $50 million of USAID funds. The Associated Press received $19.5 million of USAID funds. And the BBC received $3.3 million of USAID funds. I wonder how much Al Jazeera get. We know that the NPR, which is supposed to be impartial, supposed to be apolitical, receives millions of dollars from the US government. I say all of this to say to my listeners and viewers, the United States taxpayers have paid for the propaganda and the indoctrination, the nonsensical articles and stories reporting from COVID to Black Lives Matter riots, to DEI, to Lafayette, to color revolutions, simply to push narratives into the media that indoctrinate the very same people whose funds were being pumped into them. We paid for our own propaganda media outlets. The US taxpayer has footed the bill for the narratives across the globe. Now I continue, because it's one thing to say you don't like Trump, it's another thing to say you don't like the administration of the United States seeking to stop waste, fraud, and abuse, and to return the money to the coffers of the United States and to the people of the United States, the citizens. So when I saw today that Whoopi Goldberg was given $6 million to promote diversity on the show that she's on, The View, my viewers and my listeners, it's high time that Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Libertarians, Patriots across the board in the United States, the US Virgin Islands, the other territories, the Caribbean, and the rest of the world join the bandwagon and say enough is enough. Can you believe that $30 million in USAID funds were found in an offshore account in the Cayman Islands? Our taxpayer funds just sitting in a Cayman Islands offshore account. But as I was saying last night, this climate change fund got billions of dollars from the US government. Now today, I'm finding out that another slush fund, a slush NGO by the name of Climate United. Mind you, this NGO was just formed in 2023. Them people know what they're doing. They have planned this because it is something that they have been getting away with for decades. This Climate United only formed in 2023 that had no money. Suddenly in 2023, right after it was formed, received $7 billion of our taxpayer funds. Well, it seemed like a lot of that coming to the end because Kash Patel, the FBI director, have signaled that he's about to charge a high-ranking official of Customs and Border Patrol for trying to defraud FEMA. How FEMA get tied up with Customs and Border Patrol. It comes back to those illegal immigrants that FEMA somehow get the funds mixed up in trying to house illegal immigrants all across the United States. To my listeners and my viewers, this is an untenable situation. Every single day it's going to get worse, meaning more accountability, more transparency, more finding of waste, fraud, and abuse. And I want everybody who is listening to me to understand that there is going to be a reckoning. People go in jail. It is too much. It has been done for too long. People feel entitled. And these are major crimes done by people in high levels, high-ranking officials. They need to go to jail. Because if they are not held to account, then the America that we know doesn't exist. Because I want you to realize that every single one of these millions in funds made these people wealthy and they felt they were successful. So, is success given or is it earned? That is the topic for tonight. Is success given or is it earned? Because for sure, they were successful, but this was given. What about the hard-working American citizen, the hard-working people who work a 9 to 5 and hump every single day, doing it the correct way, not being aligned to a political party, not being aligned to an executive, a high official, who just let them farm and not-for-profit, become CEO, COO, CFO, board members at high rates of pay. They are trying to earn their success. And many do, but the majority don't. But every single individual who are part and parcel to all those millions you see me and billions you see me quoted, they are successful because it was given to them. I continue. The escalation of the bombings or the burning of Elon Musk Tesla cars and the attacks on the Tesla offices have maintained a steady flow. Remember I told you, Department of Government Efficiency have cut off their money tree, but yet they are paying individuals $40 an hour to come and so-called protest. But they ain't protesting peacefully, just like how Black Lives Matter wasn't protesting peacefully in 2020. Well, let me tell you what is happening across the USA. No, you have other people who have had enough, and they are starting to form groups who are fighting back, and they don't need the money to do it. These people armed to the bone, armed to the teeth, and they are deciding enough is enough. So does the Democrat Party and these liberals who feel that you must disagree with violence really want to do violence? They really want to keep burning Teslas and burning Tesla offices? The Democrat Party, again, taking a 20% out of an 80-20 argument and running with it. They're going to lose more voters. They cannot win. The people of the United States and the world realize the Democrats, some of them rhinos, they have had a gravy train for decades, and the Department of Government Efficiency, put in place by Donald Trump and his administration, spearheaded by Elon Musk and these young, technically gifted individuals, using algorithms, AI, whatever it takes, are finding out that the entire government of the United States that are based in Washington, D.C., like I said last night, is probably the biggest RICO this world has ever seen. And that is putting it lightly, because we're only into a month and a little bit. We're almost to 2 months of a 4-year term. So we have a lot more to find out. Before I get into the second part of the topic, being is success given or earned, I just want to put a few things out there. To the naysayers who said Trump is a dictator, Trump is a Nazi, Trump is a fascist, he can't keep the promises he's making, tariffs don't work, he's going to start World War III. Trump has received information from Zelensky that he wants peace and he wants to cut a deal with the United States. We're going to see if that happens, because Zelensky seemed to be playing games. But what he ain't realized, he's playing games with the lives of the people of Ukraine. He's playing games with the lives of the people of Europe, because the United States is across the water. Because if he thinks that the European Union and NATO is going to support the Ukraine war effort against Russia, and it is going to be a protracted and long war, I want him to bear in mind that the United States provides the weapons, the ammunition to the same European countries who are now saying they want to go into Ukraine and continue a war that they will lose. So I continue. Trump is now the peacemaker, while the Democrats and the Washington, D.C. swamp, the establishment machine, are the warmongers. Who would have thought that could be possible? Gas prices are falling. Shocked to see that in Florida today, prices are in the range of $2.54 and $2.99. So in the Virgin Islands, I'm asking, when we going to see some gas prices start to fall. Egg prices are falling, down $1.84 as of yesterday. Today, down $2 and something. In the US Virgin Islands, when are we going to see our egg prices start to fall? I continue. The inflation rate has dropped by 3.8%. Tariffs seem to be working, at least in the interim. Like I say, I only bring the news. I only bring the information. So we'll see what tomorrow brings and next week brings. But for now, things are moving in the correct trajectory. Border crossings of illegal immigrants down to hundreds, 308 or 358 in the month of January. No, I take it back, in the month of February. So we'll see what happens now that Trump has decided to allow people to self-deport through the very app that the Biden administration was allowing illegal immigrants to file asylum and to come into the United States. Things are moving at a hectic pace. And so I'll just say this. Every day, you hear more information. It's flying across social media. Trump had a major court win yesterday. Today, another judge aligned to the Democrat Party and the Joe Biden administration and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton has decided to stop him one more time. The Lafayette is plain for the world to see. Trump has more lawsuits fighting his executive orders in 1 month than Joe Biden had for his entire term. They believe that they can somehow disrupt the Trump administration or not allow them to get their policies and what they intend for the people of the United States done. Impossible. The people of the United States, 86% they say now, are in favor of the Department of Government Efficiency, and they are 100% behind allowing Elon Musk to keep exposing the waste, fraud, and abuse, because they are 100% behind. It's time that people start to be arrested and prosecuted for the crimes that everybody could see. Everybody in the world could see it. You could pretend all you want that you are a loyal Democrat. The thief in your money too. You can pretend to be. You are loyalist of the Obamas and the Bidens and the Kamala Harrises and the Pelosi's and the John McCains and the Cindy McCains and the Chuck Schumers of this world. They've been stealing your money for decades. Their salaries are small and they become millionaires overnight, much like the Virgin Islands, it seems. And some of my viewers say, it's so they like it. Let them take it. No, all of us in the same boat. Those elected officials, they feel entitled. They're in a class above us all. We're just the voters, the foolish voters, who keep voting them in because they tell us if you ain't black, if you don't vote for us, you ain't black. Or they eat some chicken wings, and that means that they love black people. Or they eat some tacos, and they say they are Hispanic lovers. Or they eat some chitlins, some collard greens. This is what they do every time you got election coming. Everybody knows the game now. The Democrats know it, the Republicans know it, the rhinos know it, the fake news know it, the people around the world know it, the illegal immigrants even know it. Guess what? A lot of people self-deporting. They know what's up. They had a long 4-year run, and who didn't get in, didn't get in. But now there is a new policy at the border and in the United States, and thousands of them are self-deporting. But while I say that, one of the most horrendous things that should cut deep to anybody that is a human around this world, much less parents. And it should hit at the core of what happened right here in the US Virgin Islands with Jeffrey Epstein and these Epstein enablers, these political class of people who promoted it, enabled it, benefited from it. The child sex trafficking. Hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors came into the US in the last 4 years under the Biden administration, and they cannot find 350,000 and plus children missing in the United States. And the Trump administration, in 2 months, less than 2 months, have already found 85,000 of these children and reunited them or will reunite them with the family. Something is very wrong when children disappear and the government, the former administration, didn't do a damn thing to try to find them. And the new administration has declared war on sex trafficking, war on child trafficking, war on human trafficking, war on organ trafficking, war on the cartels, war on fentanyl, war on the drugs coming across the border, war on the illegal immigrants coming across the border. All it took was an election. So is success given or is it earned? To every Republican, every MAGA, and every Democrat, Libertarian, or independent thinking voter who voted for Trump, you earn the success that you see now in the United States just after 2 months. It was not given to you. You had to make a choice based on your ethics, your principles, your integrity, your humanity. And you chose to go with the side that I just said, declare war and all those things, and vote out the side. Notice I ain't saying party, I said the side that want more than 2 genders. They say you got more genders than male and female. They want to put DEI in place. They want to fund everything with your taxpayer dollars globally to do color wars, warmongering. They just want to destabilize countries. They want to put regulations in place that put hard-working Americans out of jobs. They want to stop drilling, stop fracking. At the same time, they're pushing transgenderism, hormone blockers and children without letting their parents know. They push Black Lives Matter riots as mostly peaceful protests when they burn down black cities. Put black businesses out of business, burn them flat. Put Latino, Hispanic businesses out of business, burn them flat. People died. That was the side you rejected because Democrats vote for the side, rhinos vote for the side. It wasn't about party, it was about hate Trump. So is success given or is it earned? The very same people who thought that Donald Trump had a gold spoon in his mouth and he was given everything by his father and his family, they used to praise him and love him. the very same people who thought that he just was given success, in 7 to 9 years, flip the script and hate Trump now. And the amount of lawfare, the amount of abuse, the amount of narratives, optics, propaganda, just brutal against one man that they used to love. Trust me, Trump's success in the 2024 election was earned. He took a bullet for it. And that is why I said these discussions we're going to have here is reality. We ain't talking no fantasy. Everything is reality, just as it is in the world today. And so now you understand my basic theme of, is success given or is it earned? Look around the Caribbean, look in the US, look in the BVI, look in Europe, look in Canada, look in Africa and Asia, all over the world, and see how many of the political class, them politicians, success was given versus those whose success was earned. And for those who engage in coups, because it was because of military force, we're going to say that you earn it the hard way. Just for tonight. You took it, so you earned it. Look around. See what they're doing? Look in Canada. They just elect, they say, a new prime minister. Only 151 people decide that. What happened to the millions of Canadians? They can't vote? His success was given. He ain't earned nothing. In Romania, violence in the streets. A judge overturned the election. So the man who earned the political win had it taken away by a corrupt court. They now put an election back into place, and the same corrupt people in a commission disqualify the leading candidate so that he cannot earn it, his success, political success, a second time. So who they want the Romanian people to accept? The success of a politician who they want to give power? That don't make no sense. And that is why here in the Virgin Islands, I speak up and I speak out as one of the many voices now who have started to come to the front. Because based on what we have seen from 2003, it seems that the success around here politically is given, not earned. And it begins with the border election. Raymond Williams, with all his conflicts of interest and fraud upon the government, continues to serve on the board illegally. And he is saying, well, I earned it politically because I was elected. But what about the laws of the land? Why the interpretation of the laws of the land have to leave a loophole for just Raymond Williams? He didn't earn it. It was given to him, his success, every step of the way. That's a long story. And so I will leave the US, the Caribbean, and we now come to the Virgin Islands. I was sent on WhatsApp an interview that apparently occurred this morning, I think, where Attorney General Gardner was on the program, analyzed this with Neville James. Take my earpiece in my ear, forwarded it to the section with Attorney General Gardner, and I listened intently from start to finish. Whatever the Attorney General wanted to accomplish today in that interview, he may have thought he accomplished it. And Commissioner of Police Mario, you may have thought that you helped him accomplish it. But that is for who don't know. Because Collister Fahie knows the history, the present, and it informs me about the future. So the Attorney General showed up on a radio station, simultaneously broadcast on social media, live. And he indicates, after the long story given his history, which is a long history, we moved into the nitty-gritty of the interview. And so the Attorney General gave the history of where he came from in school, where he was born, all the way to Africa, took part in this, he had little issues, came to the Virgin Islands, listed off the judges who he met, the who and who's of the judicial system of the Virgin Islands, people that we call stalwarts in the Virgin Islands in terms of the legal justice system, the judiciary, judges, who he met when he was younger, and now, as Neville Williams said, he is charting his course and he is in there. Even he's almost to their status now, the Attorney General Gardner. So the Attorney General is signaling that he is now trying to work with the VIPD, the U.S. Attorney, Delia Smith, a collective force to ensure that the legal justice system works in one tandem. He even intends to reach out to the public defender's office because they need to move cases. He gave an explanation to the end about the court system, territorial court, district court, Supreme Court Virgin Islands, U.S. Supreme Court, district courts in the states versus the district court, whether it's Article 3 or Article 4 court. Good information. But while the Attorney General was talking about all that working together, it sounds good on paper. It might sound good coming out of his mouth. It's good optics. It's good sound bites. Because it reminds me of the very same thing that was done under the John D. Young government with then Attorney General Vincent Fraser, his Solicitor General, his Assistant Attorney Generals, the Superior Court of the Virgin Islands, the Supreme Court of the Virgin Islands, the Public Defender's Office of the Virgin Islands, and all these defense attorneys walking around who are underneath the Bar Association, including Ronald Sharp, who was working with the U.S. Attorney's Office, You see where I'm going? This ain't nothing new to me. The people of the Virgin Islands might have heard the narrative today. They might have heard the Attorney General signal, oh, everybody working together and that's going to be good for the Virgin Islands. Yeah, in some ways. If it is done with integrity, ethics, accountability, and on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands. But we know that ain't true. We don't have to look far to know that that ain't true. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. So the Attorney General said all the pieces of the puzzle now coming together once again to work on behalf of who? Because we done here 11,500 cases in backlog. So what is the Attorney General telling the people of the Virgin Islands about that? Not a thing, it never came up. But you want to move cases. In the interview, he talked about people taking plea deals. So you want to move cases. How are you going to move them when you're 11,500 plus in a backlog? This is why I tell people, it's a narrative. It's all for optics. To make him look what? A people's person? One of us? Because he ain't one of us. He's an attorney. He was a public defender who defended one of the executors of the Epstein estate and was instrumental, one of the attorneys who were instrumental in that settlement with the Jeffrey Epstein estate and the government of the Virgin Islands when the AG was Denise George. But Attorney General Gordon Weir is Attorney General now. So he is administering the same funds that he get from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. He is now the lead prosecutorial officer in the Virgin Islands, put in place, appointed by one of the Jeffrey Epstein enablers, the governor of the Virgin Islands, Albert Bryan. Yes. I don't mind all the others who come in between. They weren't going to last. Them attorney generals who were acting and who came in for a little while, they weren't going to last. They don't have the stomach for the corruption that is in these Virgin Islands. But somehow, it was thought that Attorney Gordon Weir had the qualifications to fit right in a round plug in a square hole. That is my opinion. So he replaced Denise George, essentially. The person who beat him in court or in settlement and got $105+ million out of the Jeffrey Epstein estate, she forced them to settle or go to court. He is now in control of the very documents that the Department of Justice received in discovery from the Jeffrey Epstein estate, who gave them in reciprocal discovery. You see how this thing is set up? When the Attorney General said that the VIPD, the Public Defender's Office, they want to work with the U.S. Attorney and they want to work with the court, let me tell you something. He forget that we read them emails that came out from JP Morgan in the lawsuit. Does the Attorney General forget, maybe he thinks we forget, what we have read, what we know for a fact happened? How everybody hands were out begging Epstein to give hundreds of thousands of dollars, including Jeffrey Epstein having the ability to do what he wants with the Department of Justice. Well, Raymond Williams doing what he wants with the Department of Justice. Supervisor Carolyn Fox do what she want with the Department of Human Justice. So where is the Attorney General on that? And to Neville James, where's the questions, the hard? But you see, that is part of it. I tell you, it remind me of under John de Young. The only person who was standing up was Mario Moorhead and Mr. P. Recon used to call in every week, letting the people know how corrupt the de Young administration was and what they were doing to people. I myself got caught up with them corrupt people. They come for me, set me up. You know why? Because the Department of Justice, the VIPD, the courts, the public defenders, all of them were walking in tandem. My people are the Virgin Islands. Everything that you see in the Virgin Islands today is a blueprint. It is a copy of the blueprint that was set in position from since Bill Clinton. It was ratcheted up under Barack Obama and Eric Holder. They tried a thing with Merrick Garland and Joe Biden. But Trump ascended, and now we know for a fact we don't have to think it anymore. We saw it every single day for 4 years, how they went after Trump. Then we sit now and we're saying, oh, Trump can't do it to the Democrats because then he will be vindictive and he will be breaking the law. Oh, so when it's on the shoe is on the other foot, it is Trump breaking the law. But when we say that it is lawfare for the Biden administration with the Attorney General and the other Democrat Attorney Generals across different states weaponizing the legal justice system to go after Trump, you say, no, Trump is a felon. No one is above the law. I can't wait for the next month. I can't wait for the next month. You think Trump in a hurry? You think Pam Bondi in a hurry? You think that Kash Patel in a hurry? You know why everybody want to work everything together now? My people at the Virgin Islands, they're trying to settle you in a trap that you could never get out of. When the legal justice system becomes your enemy, the people suffer. The courts not aligned with you. The 11,500 case backlog, they're not aligned with you. The Attorney General is not aligned with you. Not when you got Epstein enablers still walking around. Not when you got indictments coming down by the feds and no local indictments by our Attorney General and our Department of Justice. Not when you have our Department of Justice still giving cushy deals to their friends and going to court and judges signing off on settlements where people thief millions of dollars from WAPA and they walk away not having to pay back WAPA a dime and they get probation. They're not aligned with the people of the Virgin Islands. When the legal justice system coalesces together and everybody think that the friendly, there's no checks and balances. I ain't even gone to the VIPD yet. Because in my case in 2011, a corrupt, illiterate individual went to the Solicitor General at the Department of Justice, Van Sleitman, who was also the notary of the documents I took to him to take to the bank. And he signed them. And as Solicitor General, who had nothing to do with the prosecution of civil cases, it's more of an appellate thing, as Gordon Weir rightly pointed out today. But the Solicitor General, he didn't refer him to the civil division, He referred him to the police department, to a friend of his, Leonard Richardson, Sergeant Leonard Richardson. And that is why I say, Commissioner Mario, respectfully, you're in over your head. You got to know the history before you congratulate what you think is a positive. Because you might just be a pawn in a bigger game. I continue. That VIPD sergeant in 2012 didn't look for the evidence and then accuse the individual of a crime, me. They found the man. They found me. I was too popular. I had too many documents. And I was in the crosshairs of the Bryan administration because they wanted to take over the Soccer Association in a few years. See, corruption breed corruption. So he made up stuff. He took specific statements and he made up a crime. In fact, he made up 5 charges. But while he was making up the charges, up to today, Scotiabank has never made a police report that I commit a crime in the bank. Because my signature was in the bank and on their papers from since 1999. I'm saying to you, the people of the USVI, watch yourself with the cabal and the setting up again. And I'm telling you, this podcast, a lot of people gonna come for me. But before you come for me, let's see what happens tomorrow and the next day in these Virgin Islands. And maybe I should concentrate on yourself and what coming down the pike. Because a lot of you going to get orange jumpsuit and a lot of you going in jail. I'm going to continue. While the Attorney General today and analyze this with Neville James, smiles and gives the impression that he's a people person working on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands. He wasn't given a question about the Epstein enablers and the case in New York. He was not given a question about Carolyn Fox, the supervisor of elections, and the myriad a title laws that she violated. See, Title 18 is simple. I understand? And so, I take a step back because I just realized, it hit me. You can't be mad with a man who paying the piper. You cannot be upset with the AG for doing what he's told. He took the job. Nobody tell him take it. So if you take the job from a corrupt group to cover up, defer, and deny corruption, then you're just as corrupt. You just as corrupt. So I can't be vexed with him for being corrupt. I could say he corrupt. It didn't take Neville James having to ask a question for the Attorney General of these U.S. Virgin Islands who say he loved these Virgin Islands and he so want to see this paradise do good. But we have problems where we got to work on. You're causing some of the problems, Attorney General Gardner. Because no question had to be posed to you for you to know and recognize that the public, the general public, the people of the Virgin Islands want to know what the hell is going on with the supervisor elections, what the hell is going on with the board of elections, what is going on with the court case that have your governor in it, your delegate to Congress in it, you have your Port Authority director, former senators in it, you have a former AG in it, and you don't think that as the head of the Department of Justice, you were supposed to speak to the people today and you broadcast to the people to reassure them that their funds won't be used in them cases, that you as the Attorney General have recused yourself, because you got to recuse yourself. And the reasons why you recuse yourself from certain things, and why you have not yet weighed in on the Raymond Williams fraud upon the government. But you see, this is why I say, be careful who I revere. Be careful who you give accolades. Be careful who, because they carry a title, you feel that you must genuflect to them. No, you don't have to genuflect to a soul. You genuflect before your God. The Attorney General today on that podcast and that radio program showed his true colors. And I hope everybody who watched it could go back and watch it now based on what I just tell you. The Attorney General of the U.S. Virgin Islands want to work in close relations with the U.S. Attorney, the federal arm. He want to work in close association with the VIPD. He want to work even in close association with the Public Defender's Office. Them same public defenders who, when you ask for a jury trial, they decide that you must take a bench trial, and then the assigned judge could talk to you how they want and decide that you're guilty just because they watch you and they think they're going to teach you a lesson. That is what we come into again. My people of the Virgin Islands, remember that Gordon Ray's success. In the past, he might have earned, but you see the success that he say he want now, that is given. He ain't earned that. That is given. And it is given by somebody who is in New York in a case brought by the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, accusing them of facilitating and enabling their sexual deviancy to the very same victims and little St. James. And we see the emails. We see the amount of money that went to pay for people, children in school. He ain't sound like Martinez. Everybody learn from one another. So nobody have to tell me what's going on. They done sit and had the meeting, like how they love to have meeting. With me, when they were trying to set me up, oh, they had the meeting down sub-base. They concoct the scheme and decide that there is no way I could get out, because they got the governor, the lieutenant governor, the governor's wife, the governor's son, the Division of Corporations and Trademarks director, and a friend inside there, because all of them had woman and all kind of thing going on inside there. I know the story. That's why they ain't going to play with me. Because inside the Division of Corporations and Trademarks have all of the corporations and LLCs that hold the funds with their bank accounts of everybody that is raping, stealing from these governments of the Virgin Islands. They had to come here and find somebody here willing to be corrupt like them. Don't have no money that going out here straight to a US account that ain't going through a bank in the Virgin Islands. Remember, I tell you that. So the AG could come on the radio and give you optics. He could lean back and smile a little bit and talk. But at the end of the day, I speak truth to the people of the Virgin Islands. They are setting you up to enslave you, dictate to you, trap you, and give you no way out if you don't know how to handle yourself. Based on what the Attorney General said today, the people of the Virgin Islands, you ain't see weaponization of the legal justice system yet. You're just beginning to see it. And trust me, mark my words, they came out today and they decided to tell you, the public, that they have formed a coalition against you, the people of the Virgin Islands. Whether you want to admit it or not, because guess what? When the indictment start to beat down on this Virgin Islands, they want to have friendship with the U.S. Attorney, federal court, right? They want to have friendship with the VIPD. Huh? What they going to do? Like what they do with Abraham's son, with the Board of Election in 2012? When the audit come back outlining felonies for Abramson. Excuse me, Governor John DeYoung jump in and quickly pen a letter after the election commission, telling them, oh, we're going to put things in order and we're going to handle it against locally. We're putting in a new supervisor of elections, Carolyn Fox, I guess. And she also write off a letter to the election commission saying that they're going to put things in order to ensure that some of the things ain't happen. So what about the prosecution of Abramson for having a bank account with only his one signature, moving money left, right, and center? What about the fraudulent documents that he tried to put into place? The forging of documents that he tried to put into place? All of them, there's crimes. Vincent Fraser didn't move an inch to indict, arrest, charge, or prosecute Abramson. And I don't care about Abramson to say I want him locked up. I know the man. His luck ain't what everybody else get. But as a board of election member, he was well versed, but he was too versed. He was versed, so versed in the election laws. He was so revered by his other board members, including attorneys Arturo Watlington and them. He circumvented them and do what he want, and committed felonies in this Virgin Islands. And no attorney general in the Virgin Islands lift a finger for the people of the Virgin Islands, who he was not only disenfranchising, but he was using taxpayers' money to do it. So when you hear the AG jump up today, there's a reason why he do it today. He do it today for a reason. He's sending the signal out to his other coordinators that the thing's set. Well, it ain't set. It's not set at all. Because like I say, John DeYoung, Gregory Francis, Denise Johannes, Sergeant Leonard Richardson, my attorney, David Catty, who, oh, by the way, you know David Catty is John DeYoung defense attorney now too? Oh, look how the world turns. In 2012, David Catty was my defense attorney. And in 2024, 12 years later, he is John DeYoung defense attorney. God don't sleep. I continue. All of them knew fully well what they were doing because they were all aligned. They knew 2 days after they arrested me that the case was a setup. When I produced the documents, they thought I did not have. You know what Officer Best tell me? Well, you're going to have to take them documents and defend yourself in court. But he had were reeling because he see Bernard Van Slykeman name on top of notarized documents. He see my name on top of incorporation documents written, not typed, from since 1999. He see all of that. He see that I submitted to the Division of Corporations and Trademarks. All of that they see. You think that stopped them? They still kept me in a case for over 3 years. In 2015, Judge Adam Christian, you know who used to work for the Young? Had no choice but to kick out the case. Judge Assistant Attorney General Dennis Judge had no choice but to throw away the case. You know why? Because Assistant Attorney General Spratty, Douglas Spratty, husband of the Judge Sigrid Teho Spratty, current judge, take up all the information out of the Department of Justice and went home with it. And they couldn't find one paper concerning Collister Fahie, Jade Keynes, or Tamani Huggins in the Department of Justice. That's what they say. But in February of 2015, the case against me disappeared. Judge Adam Christian sit on the case for 3 years. A man who used to work for John DeYoung as a legal counsel. You see how we set? So when they come on the radio today and tell you that they're working hand in hand for your behalf, they're working hand in hand for your behalf. I am telling you, the people of the Virgin Islands, something coming down between now and next week where all of them start to align. Don't be surprised if you start to hear the local AG start to indict people before the feds indict them. They want to keep it local. They ain't going to keep it local. Ain't nothing says that the feds have to take you on with your local charges. They could charge too. They could charge the federal charges. You notice how quiet the place is? The place quiet like a church mice. The only people talking is my good friend Pajito, my good friends Karen Dickinson, Cleopatra Peter, Oakland Bentler, and St. Croix that I know of. My good friend Harriet Mercer and her podcast, giving you the information about the election system. Ida Smith, Barbara Lauren, and myself and podcast, Tuesday to Saturday, telling you, the people of the Virgin Islands, exactly what is going on. And you could take this to the bank. If Attorney General Gordon Rea believed that he could indict some of these people wrong here, and they could set it up to get a slap on the wrist, anytime they try to move to do them thing there, mouth open and story jump out, are you going to pay for what I have done to the people of the Virgin Islands? You're not going to get away with it this time. You ain't going to run to no Eric Holder. You ain't going to run to no Barack Obama. You ain't going to get your friend who used to be a bundler for them to beg for you. No. We're having none of that. The people of the Virgin Islands have had enough. You want to tell me that the IG's office, Inspector General in this Virgin Islands, was working hand in hand with the U.S. Department partners in the cases that involve Richardson, O'Neill, Carl White, and Martinez, and the local AG didn't bring charges, the feds bring it? You ain't fooling me. You're not fooling me. All you signal today, respectfully, Attorney General Gordon Rea, and feel free to respond to my podcast in the comments if you disagree. But that is all you're going to do, disagree. Because I got the receipts. I got the receipts. So what is going to happen now when somebody in high office in government is found to have committed a felony and somebody in government report it to the IG and the IG say let's prosecute? You're going to investigate it? Really? You're going to investigate the appointees of the governor that appoint you as Attorney General? No wonder they think that all of us in the Virgin Islands are a bunch of Epstein enablers. That's why they think that. Because people like Attorney General Gordon Rea, who's supposed to be upstanding, supposed to be a pit bull for the people of the Virgin Islands, is a puppy, it seems, in my opinion, for Albert Bryan. and a lot of other people. And like I say, you could dislike me for my opinion, but you cannot dislike me for my experience at the hands of these people. And that is why I say, don't even begin to attempt to try to censor me, silence me, or come for me. Because what I am talking is from past experiences at the hands of these people. Monkey should know a limb to jump on. And I keep saying to people, the people of the Virgin Islands, activate yourself. You can only get trod upon, beaten down, and walk upon if you allow people to do it to you. Stand up for yourself. Because success can be earned. But if you sit around expecting for success to be given, you're just as bad as the rest. You call that go along to get along. You think I mind all of them people I see on social media sucking up to the administration and going on like they're singing for the supper? They want to drive fancy cars after 5 with a terrorization. They want the children to do that. How much of them have children that do all kind of thing in this government that warrant automatic termination? Come to agreement and just move them to some other agency to give people in that agency hell what they were giving in the former agency. I don't have to tell me. I work in government. I know it. I seen it all. The pub tells the story. Public Employees Relations Board tell the story. We are being led by a group of corrupt people. They feel they could just cover up everything. They feel they have the power and the authority to do whoever what they want. And then they bring an AG to you who ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing with Carolyn Fox. The only thing he do is go and walk in the court when his Assistant Attorney General already know they're going to win the case. The government cannot sue the government. Carolyn Fox made a jackass of herself. But what about standing up for the people of the Virgin Islands and giving the Board of Elections an interpretation of the laws and tell them you have no other choice but to terminate Carolyn Fox, insubordination for taking her to court, for fraud for what she doing in the legislature, for breaking so many, violating so many laws of Title 18. The worst of all, weaponizing the VAPD, Commissioner Mario. What they did to Ann Williams in St. Thomas and to Peggy Moorhead in St. Croix, nobody has come publicly. You as the commissioner, them is human beings, two are we elders. You don't have a mother? You don't have a mother that you respect in the community? How would you like if one of your officers said, do you a mother that? For all election or for election day? You would have go flip, you would have flip out Maria, I know you. You think they could have done that to your mother? So when you're going to have the discussion with the Attorney General, since everybody's so close, when you're going to move to discipline them officers, well, how are you going to discipline an officer that is your right hand commissioner? This ain't no slight, this is the facts. This is just the facts of the day. But as professionals, we got to separate the private from the professional or the public, your career. And even if your right hand do something wrong, you have to discipline them. Not talk about you do your internal affairs, phone calls, you're going to send out a letter to Miss Ann Williams or whoever, and you tell them, well, you know, you're right, and we're going to handle it internally. You know why I mean when I say I'm going to handle it internally? The same thing why I do with Abramson. That was handled internally too. And he had to go on top of social media and confess his sins about what he do to the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. He do it or you didn't do it. Not a question was asked about the Epstein enablers who in court in New York to the Attorney General. Not a question was asked about the Epstein settlement money, the JP Morgan settlement money, the Leon Black settlement money, and how in the world and who give the government the authority to sell Little St. James and Great St. James to Eckhart. I mean, sometimes I think my brain functions a little too much, but I'll tell you this. The simplicity of the corruption that in the Virgin Islands, it just, it was simple. These people think that they're so smart, but they're not clever. They're not clever. Every single day I sit between the hours of 1 and 3 a.m. and I just contemplate how people who are supposed to have ethics, integrity, people who are intelligent, in my view, sit every day and work so hard to mess with people just because they can. To try to intimidate people just because they got a position of power. Work collectively so hard. It's harder. They're working harder in corruption than if they had just do it right. When they go to the legislature and speak and spew the most bullshit I have ever heard in my life. And we got senators there who just, yes, we went school together, we's friends, all of us went Antilles together, we went Central together. I know your mother and I know your husband. That is what they're doing in the legislature. They ain't doing no legislation. And then the very same ones who pretending to be standing up for the people and going on like they're making noise and behind half of the people, they sit down the night before with the very same testifiers and tell them that's what they're going to do. So they don't know to tell them, respectfully through the chair, I'm going to submit it to the senator. I don't have it with me, senator, I'm going to submit it to the chair. And then we have a AG come to the public in a broadcast, sit there and lean back, casually dressed. I tell you, everything is optics. Every single thing is optics and narrative in the Virgin Islands. No suit, no three-piece suit and tie. You gotta be casual because it's a casual show with the casual people of the Virgin Islands, just casually telling them that you're gonna mama guide them. And you're setting them up in a lobster pot where they can't get out. Anybody who get arrested in the Virgin Islands with the VIPD now, the VIPD and the Department of Justice working hand in hand. You cannot get away. Even if the VIPD was to do something wrong, the Department of Justice ain't going to look at it impartially. They're going to look at it down one side, all of us together. They did it under the Young. They're doing it again underneath Albert Bryan. Do not be fooled for 1 second. I be a disguise of that. Do not be fooled for 1 second. And then you're going to look at a defense attorney that is aligned with the very same two groups. Your defense attorney ain't going to represent you. They're representing the collective. Man, I so hot, see, because I cannot believe we got people who've been attorneys and defense attorneys say they're upholding the legal justice system and could be so damn corrupt. They're crooked to the bone. I go further. When you go to the court now with the 3 arms circle up around your neck, you innocent as you just innocent like a church mice. But them for a felony that you ain't do. And all of them know the same 3, the defense, the public defender's office, the Department of Justice and the VIPD, all together as one. They're working together. No, you go to court. The judge, who is supposed to be an impartial arbiter, will look at a bad warrant, look at an arraignment that don't have no charges against the defendant. And because all of them working together, going to continue it and give them time to put charges together that they should have put together before they reach court. Listen, the people of the Virgin Islands, I am telling you, watch yourself with this group of individuals who are now signaling that they are going back down the same lane of all for one, meaning them, and one for all, and to hell with the people of the Virgin Islands. And it must be a reason why it was done today, last minute, all of a sudden, that the commissioner of police couldn't even show up in person. He had to call Ian on the phone. That's how last minute this thing was put together. Because like I say, something serious must be coming down the pike. Maybe I know something serious coming down the pike. And all I can say is this. For years now, a lot of you get warning. For years now, a lot of you know what corruption I have been doing. In the public, everybody know. Everybody know. When you take a contract that is for 10 million and then all of a sudden you reach 100 million and no work done, nobody could see no work. Let me tell you something. If I think the people of the Virgin Islands stupid, I try to indict people locally and go superior court for jury trial and see what happens. A lot of you might be surprised. You better put your trust and hope in the corrupt judges so that when the sentencing guidelines come down, you don't have no minimum mandatory, so they could give you a little slap on the wrist in sentencing, but I go in jail. Just like how I try to put people in jail unlawfully, excuse me, breaking the very same laws that I swore to uphold. A police officer must not make any false statement to the court. What Leonard Richardson do in the affidavit for the warrant for my arrest? What he do? You want me to go over that? A judge must not sit there and because they were appointed by a governor who they're still friends with, you keep a defendant in a case for 3.5, 4 years, violation of the right to a speedy trial, and continue the damn case for nearly 10 times. Because the attorney, the assistant attorney generals, them finding all kind of bullshit reasons. Oh, I run out a paper in the printer. Douglas Spratty and his wife, who is a judge now, came to court and tell Adam Christian that they run out of paper in the printer, so they asked for a continuation for 2 months. And she's a judge in the Virgin Islands now and was an assistant attorney general, and nobody cited as a conflict of interest for a husband and wife to come into court and be my prosecutors. And I want me to believe them people don't know what they're doing. The people of the Virgin Islands, take my serious warning. If you realize how I'm talking, this is serious business now. This ain't no bullshitting. What is going on in the Virgin Islands? You have one opportunity to break it. You got Trump as president. You have a Republican Senate and a Republican House of Representatives. You have a Republican-leaning U.S. Supreme Court. I am telling you, these corrupt liberals in leadership of this Democrat Party, they are as filthy and as dirty as they come. So you could stay there as Democrat voters and feel you ain't gonna feel the boot heel and the whip. Because if the son get caught driving drunk or with a gun, the police gonna cover it up. But your child going in jail. How much more history you need? You think I talking about me? My case was the least. That was the easiest to prove. I just hold on my documents until they're ready to go trial. And I wanted trial bad. Because I wanted to embarrass the John D. Young Francis administration. I wanted to pull Dennis Johannes into court. I wanted to put on the witness stand. But they're smart. When they realized that the game was up, they just dismissed the case And then somebody among them had the ability to call ICE. I wonder who that be. Who got the ability to give ICE talkie and could call the supervisor down at the airport? Because the Epstein emails them teach me a lot. Because somebody called ICE for me and tell them that I was a felon, and they take me out of the Virgin Islands to Florida. And then the illiterate buffoon was given play-by-play. I wasn't even back in St. Thomas, and they were already told that I win my case. And what case I had? Like the judge said, the man ain't no felon. The man is not no felon. And he is in the wrong jurisdiction. But somebody was shuttling information from Florida to the Virgin Islands. Well, guess what? Fahie is a U.S. citizen now, and I live in the Virgin Islands, and he's going to be held to pay. Because I know all your games, I sit you all your games. The Attorney General of the Virgin Islands right now, and put it on the record that Collister Fahie says so, on March 12, 2025 at 8:28 p.m. Gordon Ray, the Attorney General, is 10 times now, 10 times worse than Vincent Fraser when he was Attorney General. The amount of things he done let pass, the amount of things that Gordon Ray done let pass. No, man. We really living backward in the Virgin Islands when we as a collective people cannot call out nonsense when we see it. Cannot see when the people trying to kill us off, brutalize us and do us what they want. How much more are your children got to go jail as Democrat voters? How much more are your children got to go jail before I realize that they don't protect you? But let one of the friend up top, child, get caught up with yours. No, your child going jail. Theirs ain't. Theirs ain't. You think they're spending the 45,000 or whatever they're getting from all kind of consultants and Pansy scheme guys wrong here and decide to send the children to Antilles and wherever. You think they're going to give up that gravy train? Huh? They ain't going to give it up. But what happened? What about when Trump and Elon Musk and the Trump administration forced them to give it up by stopping the federal funds that come into the Virgin Islands? By calling them out by name for not only corruption, but for criminal activity that they have engaged in. I tell you, the office of the Lieutenant Governor, Division of Corporations and Trademarks, Denise Johannes can't help her, you know. None of you who got LLCs and bank accounts in the Virgin Islands and out the Virgin Islands with other shell companies that link to our local LLCs, consultancies. I don't care why you call them. Not for profits. If the federal government really were to investigate what's going on in the Virgin Islands, almost all of the political class go in jail. Collister Fahie said that over 30 years in this Virgin Islands, and I have never seen people so blooming greedy. How much more you want? How much more you're going to make the people of the Virgin Islands suffer just so that you can walk and say, oh, well, I'm so-and-so, and I have this property, and I have that property. I have this consultancy and this restaurant, and I buy these 3 buildings, but you get them from a blinking Marshall sale that you done got shuttle up with the judges. I don't know if that is true, but maybe I know if it's true. I don't know. Don't hold me for it, or maybe hold me for it. That's how we're going to play the game, like how I had to play the game. Then I'll give one another praise and accolades among yourself and try to make the general public believe that I what something, I ain't what nothing. I the most worthless set of people I ever seen. And I could call name, but I don't do the name calling thing really. I don't know it for a fact from something that affect me, that I was witness to, I ain't gonna call your name. But a lot of I know I witness to a lot. And I said this to the people of the Virgin Islands. Got a lot of people around the place like to go around and make people think that they must be afraid of them. Nobody afraid of nobody. Nobody afraid of nobody. I am gone, the stories hit the road. Just so. And so I tell people, when you listen to the AG and Neville James and how they're talking and Mario, the commissioner, I listen to you talk and I hear what you're saying, but I don't believe that you realize what it is you actually say on the radio. You as the VIPD go and work hand in hand with the prosecutor's office to make sure that everything is put in place and everything is okay, so that when you go to court, everybody aligned and you could get the case. But what about the people who have cases that are cocky? The cocky eye. What about the cases for people that is a setup? If are you aligned, who gonna look out for them people? Who is going to look out for the people that the group set up? I ain't fooling nobody. You might think I am fooling them Democrat voters who have yet to realize that I was more Democrat voter than them. And look what I do to me. And I want me to walk around St. Thomas afraid, keep my mouth shut for what? What are you going to do? What you going to do other than what you done do? What I don't like is when our sins and criminal activity be said publicly. So I'm going to say it now. Attorney General Gordon Rea, I personally believe that your conflicts of interest cannot be undone either. And maybe you need to resign. You see, while I'm busy talking about Raymond Williams and his conflict of interest, I did some research. And Attorney General Gordon Rea, your conflicts of interest cannot be undone. You might need to resign. Simply recusing yourself may not cut it. It is way beyond the appearance of conflict of interest. Whether by choice or by chance, it's way beyond the appearance of conflict of interest. You were the defense attorney for Amos Carty Jr. He now suing Schneider Regional Medical Center for non-payment of attorney fees. Them is your fees. And you is the AG who you support to give an opinion and look out for Schneider Regional Medical Center. So how you going to do it? You want to get paid on one hand and you dictating whether you get paid on the next hand. Let me tell our people of the Virgin Islands something. It does not take much to realize that we in a serious pickle in the Virgin Islands. They have done too much for too long. They are all tied up and networked and spiderwebbed. It is too much. Unless the federal government come into the Virgin Islands and take a hammer to this place, we're going to stay the way we are. No matter how much you complain. The only way that we can affect it, the only way we can be successful to the people of the Virgin Islands, and I want the people of the world help me to convey it to you. The only way you can be successful I smile, you know. My people of the Virgin Islands, let me tone down a little bit. The only way we can be successful against this dark cloud of people that don't give a damn about us is to forget party. Vote for people who you know are going to look out for your best interests. To be successful as a community, as a society, as a territory, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, no party, black, white, Indian, Hispanic, whether you're LGBTQ or whatever, people forget all them things. To be successful, you got to earn it. Go to the polls and vote. Vote as a collective block for accountability, integrity, ethics. That's the only way we as a collective are going to get rid of them people whose success has been given to them by a group of corrupt people. Raymond Williams, them going to keep taking our destiny. Arturo Watlington Jr. sit on the board of election and did not come to a meeting for months. And then he off the board. What are we doing to one another? I keep asking the question, who decide to sell Little St. James and Greater St. James to Eckhart for $60 million when the asking price was 100 and something million dollars? What was the reason for that drastic drop? How much was exchanged? It's the same people. This is our property, our lands, yet they want to give away Whistling Key. Like they own it too. What about all these dilapidated pieces of property that they say is government property that could be used to house all kind of things? You see the one up here in Savannah, above Savannah? I'm watching all your bad. Because you're up to something. So I'm waiting to see who are you going to shuttle that to. Because somebody looking to take over the property there just before you go to office. That's the game. So I'm going to end now. Short and sweet tonight, man. Success can be given and success can be earned. But almost 100% of the time, success that is given may last for a while before it is upended by success that is earned. You see, when the people finally find somebody that they really could relate to, that they know for a fact gonna keep the promises and dismantle a corrupt regime, that person will earn success. And that will be the end of all the people who have a fickle success because it was given to you corruptedly. Who don't like what I gonna say now, that's the business. But every day, I thank God that the bullet just hit Trump in the ear and passed by. I would not like to see what the world, but mostly the USA and the USVA would have been under another Biden term or a Kamala Harris term. Not with what we see coming out now. Not with what the whole world seeing coming out. So I just want the government of the United States, not Trump administration. I want the government of the United States, after the Trump administration have put corrections into place, take the finest tooth comb they could find and just walk it through the hair of the Virgin Islands. Just walk it through, piece by piece. Every single department, agency, authority, commission, and board, Collister Fahie says so. And the people of the Virgin Islands will realize that what you see happening in the US, we in the Virgin Islands accepting, notice I say accepting 10 times worse, because it's up to us to unite, man. Come together, my people of the Virgin Islands. Earn your success. Put these people in the place and let them know that you cannot just move money how you want because you align with the AG and you align with the VIPD commissioner and you align with the public defender's office and you appoint the judges and you align with the U.S. attorney because all are his friends to drink together. No. Like I say, gone are the days when the decisions of the Virgin Islands are made on the beach, Megan's Bay. But it seems now that the decisions of the Virgin Islands are made over dinner with 4 people sitting down and applauding one another while they dismantle the territory and destroy the community that we say we love. So the question was, is success given or earned? The success that is given can never outpace, outdo, or escape success that is earned. So to my people of the Virgin Islands, the Caribbean, and the world, I say to you now, you go out and you earn successes. Don't take the fast road of corruption. By tomorrow's podcast, the 53rd show, all hell may be breaking loose in these U.S. Virgin Islands because the Attorney General of the Virgin Islands went on the radio station today along with the Commissioner of Police and says that he is extremely close with the U.S. Attorney, is working with the Public Defender's Office, and all of them know one another for donkeys of years, from the bar and all them judges. All it. Be wise, be observant, be lawful. Do not put yourself in the hands of the legal injustice system because they will eat you up. But you see, as long as you're lawful and you're observant, they cannot dare take away from any success that you earn. Good night, and God bless you all.